Hello, Coyote artists. This week we're going to learn about printmaking. Now, there's different kinds of printmaking, which we'll show you, and then you're going to choose a kind of printmaking as your assignment this week. I can't wait to see what you do, so let's get started. So, printmaking. So, printmaking is a media, like drawing is a media, and painting is media, and sculpture is media. Printmaking is its own media as well. So in printmaking, you have a process. You create a plate. So right here with this robot, you can see that they're using all these objects and they've glued this onto this piece of cardboard. That will be the printing plate. And then they will do a print. And you can do a print in different ways. So this is a collagraph print where they're using this raised surface with all these objects and they are putting a piece of paper on top and then they are printing either by rubbing or this is the same robot picture, but you can see how they put some aluminum foil around it and then they rubbed the aluminum foil so that all those raised surfaces appear. And then they colored it with a marker. They wet, or not wet, but dampened a piece of paper. You don't want it too wet. You just want it kind of damp. And then when they printed the paper, the damp paper on top of the marker on the aluminum foil, it made this print of the robot. Okay, so it's all about what you do with the plate that ends up with a different type of print. So there's types of printmaking. There's a planographic print, a print that is drawn on a printing plate, like a lithograph. You can do this on foil. Instead of putting the foil onto the robot, you could just draw on foil with a marker, dampen a piece of paper, and then print them with a marker on the foil. You have what's called relief print. And that's print that's what it's left of the surface. So say you take like a styrofoam container or a styrofoam plate and you use a pencil and you draw on it, or you take what would be like a wood cut and you carve into wood, you could print that. You would ink or you would paint the surface, and anything that was carved in wouldn't get any paint or ink on it. And then you could print what you see, what's on the surface. Then you have intaglio print, and that's a print that's like underneath the surface. And so that's like an engraving where you engrave something into a piece of metal or wood, and then you ink that, but the ink goes into the little grooves, and then you can print that. And then you have serigraphy, which is print that is open on a screen. So screen printing or a stencil, and then you use the stencil and you paint inside the stencil in the open areas of the stencil, and that's considered a print. So here's some printmaking project ideas. A collagraph rubbing is pretty simple and easy to do. Create a relief image with simple cardstock or cardboard shapes, and then glue those down to another piece of cardboard or cardstock. So where could you find cardboard? Of course, boxes, but cereal boxes, cracker boxes, things like that will also work for a collagraph. Then you place a piece of paper over the cutout shapes and then rub over it with a crayon. The tricky part is to make sure that you give the cardboard or cardstock enough time to glue and set, and then also holding the paper still as you rub. Especially if you're going to rub with more than one color and layer additional colors for depth or mixing, you want to make sure that you're holding the paper really still in exactly the same spot each time that you add another layer of color. So here you can see that these students are making portraits, and here's where they're putting the paper on top and rubbing with a crayon. And then here you can see there are multiple colors that add a layer of depth. Another idea would be to be a styrofoam print, where you would take a piece of styrofoam like on a plate, and you can draw in it with a pencil, a dull pencil, or even a little ink pen will work. So you can actually color the styrofoam with marker, and then of course you might want to dampen your paper a little bit. Okay, remember it's not too wet. And then you can press the paper, or you can press your styrofoam onto the paper, either way, and make a print. And you can see that this person actually made multiple prints by just rotating the plate around. Something else that you could do is to draw on the transparency or foil, and that's called a monoprint, because you only will get one print, whereas with the styrofoam print you can make multiple prints. So for this, you would just draw directly on a piece of transparency or foil, and then get your damp piece of paper and rub on top. And then the last thing that you can do is called a monoprint with oil pastels. Here you would color one paper with oil pastels, take another piece of paper, put it on top, and then draw on top of the white paper on top of the oil pastel paper. And what it will do is it will make an exact copy of whatever you drew onto both pieces of paper. It will make a print. All right, I can't wait to see what you choose. Okay, Coyotes, I hope you have a wonderful and fun time printing this week. Remember to be creative and have fun. Bye-bye.